Okay, we're moving now on to the next section, which is most interesting because most of us have a look at the paper in the evening and we have a look at the pound sterling and we look at the dollar rate, and some of us understand it and others not so much. So let's have a look and give you a bit more of an awareness about how we borrow and lend money, especially from overseas. So you may be aware that financial institutions adjust the rate at which they lend money or pay interest on investments from time to time. Usually these adjustments are linked to the global economy. Changes in the interest rate will obviously impact on how we calculate the interest received on an investment over a period of time. Right, so let's have a look at the first example. Nikki invests 3,000 Rand in a fixed deposit savings account. Calculate how much she will have saved at the end of 6 years if the interest is 11% per annum, compounded annually for the first 4 years, and then changes to 13% per annum, compounded annually for the remainder of the investment. So this is a very normal type of situation. Often we deposit money into the bank at one interest rate, and then after a certain amount of time, it changes. It either goes up or it goes down. It fluctuates. And that is dependent on the global economy. So we need to be able to have a formula whereby we can change depending on when the interest rate changes. So this is a very, very important tactic that you're going to need to use going on into grade 11, and it's something that we call a timeline, where we take our investment and we actually draw a picture of it so that we can see what happens to our investment. Now, it's most important that we always understand that an initial investment is taken at time t0, 0. So now is time t0. And I always take a deposit as an arrow going in to my bank, and she is investing 3,000 Rand. Okay? Now it says that she is going to save up for 6 years in total, but the interest is 11% for the first 4 years. So in other words, time T1, time T2, time T3. So can you see that this is the passage of 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and the interest rate here I'm going to depict as being my 11%, which is 0,11. Now things change, and for the next 2 years, up to time T6, the interest rate changes to 13%. So different things are happening to her investment. So what we really have to do is we have to take her investment and move it forward to time T4. We're going to need to work out how much she's got after 4 years of growth, and then we're going to have to redeposit that much and grow it for the further 2 years at the different interest rate. Okay? And finally, right at the end here, we will work out our A value. So let's see how we're going to cope with that. So at time T0, we are going to invest our 3,000 Rand. Okay? Now we're going to let the clock tick, and we're going to let 4 years pass until such time as the interest rate changes. And so now we are going to take how much her investment is worth at time T4. Now remember that this is a compound interest, so really all we need to do is use our formula, and our formula is P, 1 plus I to the N, which is going to be 3,000, 1 plus our interest rate over that 4 years, which is 0,11, 11% to the power of 4. And we are going to pop that into the calculator to give us a value of what we have after 4 years of investment. So it's 3,000 times 1.11 to the exponent of 4. Right, 4554.21. Remember, we're working with money, so we are going to have 455.4.21. So let's just be aware that that is the amount that she would have available to her at time T4. But that amount becomes her new investment going forward for the next time period. So that means that if I now pull this money forward to the end of 6 years, I'm going to take this amount as being my initial investment, which is going to be 4554.21. And remember that the interest rate changed, so now I can't use the 0,11. I'm going to use the 0,13, and this is going to be for a further 2 years. All right? And remembering that this 4 and this 2 must add up to the entire duration of the investment period. Now, please notice that although I've written down this amount rounded off, I still have the whole amount on my calculator, and I'm going to use that whole amount on my calculator going forward into the next calculation. So don't work with 4554.21, rather keep that entire amount on your calculator to be completely accurate. So we're going to take that amount and we're going to times it by 1 plus 0.13. And of course, now we need to square. So of course, we can use our x squared, or we can use that same button and put in the 2 ourselves. I'm lazy, so I'm going to get x squared, and that gives me an amount of 5815.27. Right, so have we answered the question? The question said that she's invested it, calculate how much she will have saved at the end of 6 years, and in fact, we have actually calculated the answer because she would have saved 5,815 Rand and 27 cents. Now, what we can do is we can make this a little bit more interesting. We could make more deposits, or we could change the interest more times. But of course, what we might also do in a question is we might take some money out. So for example, we could change it and say that at this point she needed 1,000 Rand for her broken scooter, and so therefore what we would do at this particular point is we would then subtract off any money that she needed, and then we would use that amount going forward into the future. So we can make these questions quite interesting by changing the number of time periods and making more deposits or taking money out as a withdrawal.